Money work. El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money work. Se arregla con dinero.
SE Project branding logo, that's on here.
Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. And we're also gonna change the kickstand knob, guys. Alright, let's take a quick look at the
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I roll over something.
Solo un par de gente se llama el Putin entero. Money, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero yo Lunes. Money work. El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money work. Se arregla con dinero.
SE Project branding logo, that's on here.
Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. And we're also gonna change the kickstand knob, guys. Alright, let's take a quick look at the
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I roll over something.
Solo un par de gente se llama el Putin entero. Money, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero yo Lunes. Money work. El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money work. Se arregla con dinero.
SE Project branding logo, that's on here.
Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Alright, guys, we're just gonna let this roll one more time to get to it. Alright, time to MV Agusta tonight.
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I roll over something.
Solo un par de gente se llama el Putin entero. Money, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero yo
What's good? Mike is in the building. Welcome to another Freestyle Sunday, guys. Very, very excited for this episode. As you guys know, we're currently at episode 41, but I'm super stoked for a lot of reasons, guys. Things keep on getting better. Guests are getting better. And people are constantly referring new people to me and potential motorcycle industry official people to come through. So that's really dope. Tonight we have Jose Galena. He's the marketing coordinator for MV Agusta. It's going to be a great conversation. The reason that we're starting a little bit earlier than usual is because he's pressed for time. And I thought it'd be a great person to make an exception for. Half an hour ahead. He is in California, so his time is going to be off from ours. So in order to kind of accommodate and bring you guys a good show, we're having the show a little bit earlier. We have quite a few people that's already on here. So we'll do what we do best and greet people. By the way, guys, if you're tuned in, you're watching, make sure you hit that thumbs up. That's a huge deal. You guys know the deal. Helps with the algorithm. It also helps with getting more guests on, more people to come on. We're basically putting the official stamp on the live stream. So that's a good look. Always appreciate it, man. We're going to do what we do best in the very beginning of any stream, guys, which is highlight our sponsors, the people that helps the stream keeps on going every single time, every Sunday night outside of me coming on. And instead of me writing, as you can see, my writing jacket's like right behind me and I'm ready to go, probably most likely after this show. We're going to say a big thank you to Motivation USA, guys. That's where I shop for all my parts and accessories, pretty much wheels, carbon fiber wheels, parts, tools, anything else you're looking for, guys. This is the place you're going to want to hit up and get what you need. Again, these guys have been part of my channel for a very, very long time. They believe in what we do here, and it's always a pleasure to support their company, their brand, and it also helps us as well, myself, my wife, the channel, and us building beautiful bikes. As you guys know, I have a few bikes. Pretty much most of my builds are done with all of their parts and accessories, and I am totally grateful to have them be part of the channel. To be candid here, most of the stuff is provided and stuff like that, and it's commission. But you know, we like to keep it nice and on a level playing field so you guys know what's going on. So if you're into any of that stuff, you're looking to mod any of your bikes or any other brand of motorcycles, you guys know I have Ducatis, but anything else they will cover. The links will be in the description, and you could just hit that link. And of course, we would have to highlight one more sponsor of the stream. We actually have a third sponsor coming on, guys. Just a heads up, we will be talking about that at some point. We're gonna highlight Hard Knocks Coffee, owned by a rider himself that provides coffee for MotoGP. Really, really dope. We like to support that kind of stuff, and we like to support the people that support us. If you're looking to buy coffee for friends and family, stickers and candles, this is where you're gonna want to do it, and that's how you support this movement, by hitting those links in the description and showing love and support, man. We appreciate it. All right, so before we get to Jose being on, guys, you guys know I love to do this. This is something I think that makes the stream really important to me. We give back to you guys and at least show love to you guys. I'm just gonna pull up some of the comments, some of the early people that's here, and pull up your comments. Again, if you guys have any questions, comments during this little chat with Jose from MV Agusta, you could always drop it there. And of course, we're gonna be mindful, be respectful. I don't have to say that. You guys know the deal, man. Everybody here is pretty much adults. We have a good time on a regular basis. We have 5 Ups in the building. And he's an interesting guy. He had an MV Agusta dragster, which he sold. So we're going to talk about that tonight. So that's super interesting. Governor D Nice is in the building. Really, really cool. And, of course, Sasong. Good evening, peeps. The guy that says the floor has been freshly paved. Let's go. Oh my God. He's referring to my last video. If you guys didn't tune in, you could check that out. Life with Anna B. Wife's always showing love. And we have 650 Ebes in the building, and you guys would know who he is. Owns a huge variety of motorcycles, and I don't think he has an MV yet. So this might be a good conversation for him to hear, at least be part of, and maybe pick up one of them. Power Moto. All right, man. We also have Twist the Throttle here. Again, we have a few people. David Piccione's here. Very talented painter. You could refer to him in one of our stream that we did before, where you could kind of get some stuff done. I'm not going to stay on this too long, guys. Again, time is of the essence. So we're going to bring Jose in, and we will chat a little bit more once all this stuff has been done. Guys, allow me to introduce Jose. Welcome to the stream, sir.
What's up, Mike? What's up, everybody? How you guys doing?
So walk us through, you know, I guess we'll say your credentials, right? Since you've been in the business, you've been here for a long time. I mean, I could go through it myself and tell them, but I'll let you do that.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and then to the point, and then it'll, you know, as the conversation goes, it'll probably expand. But as far as, you know, my story with MV Agusta, back in 2015, I got hired to shoot all the photos for a press release when MV Agusta at that time was under new ownership, and all the triples and stuff were all going to come to the U.S. And we had a new CEO at the time, and whatever, big press launch, big press ride at Fontana. I got hired as a photographer. From there, I kind of, you know, started diving with the CEO at the time, and then from there I started doing a little bit of contract work, graphic design here and there, and then later on, like helping with little PR things, you know, delivering bikes or possessing a bike and taking it here. Then it became basically like full time, but still as an independent contractor, and then eventually it became a full time job. And that's all from a time period of January 2015 until now. Is when that all happened. So that's my story with MV, or at least the beginning of where and how I started with MV.
So you were with them at first as digital marketing manager, right? From 2015 to 2016, a year and 5 months to be exact.
Yeah. So what I did during that time is I tightened up. You know, I started the MV Agusta USA Instagram. I tightened up the MV Agusta USA YouTube channel. I tightened up the Facebook page. I basically took control of all that, tightened up, you know, with a millennial, you know, more of a millennial skill set, millennial mindset, and just kind of started putting it all in line to the standard that it should have been at for a global brand. And from there, again, yeah, it started barrel rolling from there, more and more tasks to do until I eventually got to a full-time position where I'm at now. But that is how it started. Yeah.
Yeah, at least from that time, I think after the year and 5 months, you left and you did a lot of other photography works, help with develop some brands, launch a couple of other brands out here in Cali as well, and then you came back in 2018 until present day, right? To be correct.
Yeah, but to be more precise, the first day of 2019. Correct. Yeah. So at that point, MV USA had new management again, and he was running it pretty well. And I actually went to IMS in Long Beach. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It's the name of the show. I had a quick chat with the CEO of USA at the time and told him what I did. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, some of the guys from Italy, have strong recommendations about you, whatever." And that's when I started again as like 1099. That was essentially full time. Just again managing anything that was kind of more aesthetic, anything on the social media side, anything on the media side, and again, managing the logistics of delivery service of press bikes to get them into magazines and stuff from the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, it is super interesting to see this path being taken, and I think as we lightly spoke a little bit earlier. About your position with MV and the Italian brand that's at least trying to make a mark out here in the U.S., or at least North America, I would say, to be more exact. It's great to have somebody on like yourself. Also, I know you wrote for Ride Apart. Also, you wrote an article on Brat, which is Japanese bikes that are lowered with thicker wheels and stuff like really, really cool in 2015. So a really, really cool project. I think this is just to say, guys, just to kind of give you a context of who he is, his credentials. I don't want you guys to think, oh, he's just the marketing guy that's coming on, that's going to give us some spiel about MV Agusta to get excited and go out and buy their bikes. So Jose he's part of the culture.
I don't know if you guys have caught me looking over this way, but when I'm looking over this way, I'm looking at my F4RR that's in the living room, and I'm just admiring. No, it's I'm just as sick as anyone watching this show when it comes to motorcycles. It's constantly in my head. It's a long, basically I was my father is a pretty well-known restorer of Italian bikes. And then I, as a kid, I was a punk rock kid, so I was always into creativity and stuff, and punk and kind of choppers kind of crashed there. And then my dad and the Italian bikes, and it all just and it still just kind of interweaves. That's just how it is. That's how it's been. Custom bikes are my language in my life, and then Italian bikes have just from as long as I can remember. There's been one or two, restoration projects, one in the garage and one in the middle of the living room that my father was consistently working on. That's how it was from high school and on, just every morning, Italian bikes.
So you naturally fit in this position and really just being around these motorcycles, which is great, man. I mean, it's really beautiful to see something like this happen to someone that's passionate about motorcycles and manage to kind of work your way into the industry. I wouldn't say seamlessly, because all of it takes some kind of effort and work, of course. And it seems like it was just meant to be. You're very passionate about photography, and I've seen a lot of your work, been kind of fishing through things. I know it's kind of just when you do these interviews, I feel like as if I'm almost spying on people and stuff.
I mean, I know a little bit about you, Mike, too. Don't worry.
Really? Hopefully it's good things. I really hope so, man. So a lot of people tend to not know this about me. They see me, I have a few Ducatis, and I'm pretty big with Ducati. But I've always had a very, very big passion for MV Agusta as well. My wife actually got me one years ago when I was in school. MV Agusta Brutale 800. I was completely in love. It was a red one. Usually I pull up a photo, but in the mix of everything else, I didn't get a chance to. And I got rid of the bike. To make long story short, I got rid of the bike because during that time period, MV was, I wouldn't say not a super well-known brand, but it wasn't mainstream enough to keep it. There wasn't enough dealer support or enough for you to keep a bike like this where you have to do maintenance or take it somewhere. And in that time frame, there was a lot of talk that the company might be going out kind of thing. So I panicked. I'm like, I got to get rid of this. And
and that you said, there was a break in my path with MV Agusta on my resume, as you saw, and that also had to do with that period there of general uncertainty, with the brand.
So I'm definitely probably gonna
recalls.
I'm gonna pull that up at some point, probably in between when I'm going through takes and stuff like that. But really, really love that bike. Really great bike. The closest thing I could think of when we're talking about that Brutale 800 was more like a street triple or speed triple, but like on steroids. It has a lot of character, a lot of personality. You could hear the triple. I mean, really, really awesome bike, really.
Yeah, that bike, it handles super well too. It really feels like that bike. It's funny because it's currently in the U.S. the cheapest MV Agusta you can buy is a Brutale 800 RR, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I ride it, and I get to ride that, and I get to also ride the most expensive one. Sometimes I'm like, dude, if I had to choose, that one is more than enough. It's a killer bike. It handles so well. It's so light. It's so beautiful. It's so good looking.
Yeah.
The one you had was likely a 2016 or 17. If it was red, I think red.
It was
tank,
16. I think.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So that one was killer. And that was like pre-RR. That was just the 800.
Yes.
And now in the US, there's only the RR, which comes with this beautiful two-tone paint and painted to match fender and stuff. And it's an exquisite bike, despite being the lowest on the totem pole here in North America. And
they're keeping trend. I see with the trellis frame. I think Ducati's moving away from that, and MV's sticking with it. And I think it's very interesting to see that. And you could see the shift where. Not to kind of bring other brands in, but Ducati, when they kind of took it away out the Monster, and I think they're working more on like making things light and stuff. There was a big drawback for most people, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to say too much, but I think they're working to make things light for sure, and then I agree. But I also think they're looking to increase their shareholders' profit margins.
Okay. And, that's a great sign. That's a great sign. So I'm telling you, there's 3 brands I kind of stay away from, but I really love it. I'm super interested. We're talking about Aprilia, MV, and KTM. At least living out here in New York, that I'm very nervous if I were to get their bikes, what would happen if I encounter any issue. And I think what you're doing regarding doing marketing for MV is really impressive. I'm just gonna roll a clip real quick of K receiving one here, right?
Yeah.
That is just for
the silver.
Go ahead.
The silver one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Brutale RS. It's a Brutale 1000 RS.
Just gonna pull that up real quick here just so we can transition. I'm probably gonna get strike here for for playing this, but it's all good.
All right, welcome back to the channel, guys. You guys already saw the title and the thumbnail probably. I am getting delivery of a very special bike that he is going to introduce to you guys.
What's up, guys? I'm Jose, PR and marketing coordinator for MV Agusta North America. What we have today is the Brutale 1000 RS. So, what that means, it's the base model of the Brutale 1000. But don't let that steer you away, because we have the same chassis, same motor, same power, and most of the same components as even the top level Brutale. What we don't have on this one, which is a little bit different, is none of the carbon fiber, and we don't have the Olin suspension. That might steer some people away, but if you're looking to get onto 208 horsepower and still have super Corsas and still have one of the most powerful hyper nakeds on the market, this is the bike to go for.
All right, that's it. If you guys want an
So the reason why I'm kind of pulling this up, I think it's a great time that you've joined MV, and I've mentioned this a little bit earlier, just mentioning it again. One, it's that super nakeds or hyper nakeds, whichever path you want to go with here, is super popular. It's breeding ground, I think, for a lot of people to come in, even though I think there's a lot of credit due to KTM Super Duke. When it came out, it made a big hoorah. And then we have the Aprilia, the naked one, that was doing well, but it didn't have that marketing push. It wasn't mainstream. And then from there, you have the Street Fighter, and then now we having the Dragster RR, and there's several different versions. And I think it's a great time for MV to come back with that model, because people are looking for that, right? And this is where you come in. This is where I want you to talk about, because what's interesting is that I don't think MV has a big presence in New York, and I think your approach here, even having K riding one of the bikes, or at least having him one, I don't know for how long he had it, or is it for a day or something like that. I thought it was brilliant, and I think this is a big deal. I don't see a lot of companies doing this. I've seen this with Triumph lightly, and no other brands are doing it, and I think you pushing MV in that direction where you're getting us involved. We talk about, GP, we talk about everything else, and then regular people. So just walk us through that.
Yeah, we had one thing like this happen in the beginning, and it was an opportunity. So I work, I'm the marketing coordinator. There's a director of marketing in North America too. His name's Nathan. And then there's the PR manager in Italy and the director of marketing. And sometimes either an opportunity, we make the opportunity and we make it happen, or it comes in through Italy and they go, that's in North America, and they shuttle it straight to us. So the first time we gave a loaned a motorcycle to a YouTuber, this guy named Zach, I'm forgetting his YouTube channel, but he completely fell in love during his riding. And actually it was the only time this has happened. And he's worked with several companies. He fell so much in love with the Super Veloce that he purchased the Super Veloce for himself. And not just any Super Veloce, he purchased the 75th anniversary Super Veloce, which is a super special edition one, only 75 worldwide. And he purchased it with the idea of turning it into a family heirloom for that's going to go to his kids and his kids' kids and whatever. And that's kind of what started the whole paying attention to this YouTube side or vlogger kind of side of things for me. And then, like I already mentioned, I'm not just like some dude with a degree in marketing that's like, oh yeah, I got a job here at this motorcycle company that's figured out. It's kind of the opposite, right? I'm just like I said, I'm just as sick as probably most of the people listening to this when it comes to motorcycles, right? It's like the only thing I care about. And so I'm out, right? I'm always out. I'm riding. I'm out, and I actually kind of organically met Kay and some of these other dudes. And actually, I met Kay because I was riding around with this dude Trevian, who rides around with Kay. You've probably seen him here or there. He's got an R1, and the way I met Trevian was actually I ran out of gas because the screen, dark visor, black screen, sun right on it, did not see the gas light, just cruising along, like warm day, California, bam. And I was like, oh no. I'm like pulled over under a bridge, and some super loud R1 pulls up. He's like, you all right? And I was like, sort of, when I'm out of gas. He's like, oh, I got you. I'll be right back with a bottle. And I'm like, no way. Yeah. So I met that Trevian dude like that, which was really cool, really sweet kid. And then through there, I kind of hung out with him a couple times, rode with these other guys, and that's how I met Kay, and it was a little more organic at least. So it's not like I was like cold emailing him, like, hey, I'm this guy from this brand. I want to get you this bike, do this. Just kind of blah, and then kind of again like super organically. Like he's like, dude, these actually kind of look sick, and I don't have any experience with them. Nobody really has that much experience with it. I'm like, oh, I can get you the experience with it. You want an experience with it? Let's get you the experience with it. And all that too. I met some other guys. I'm constantly active, riding, going to events. I met some other guys from here, from Southern California. They bought the most exclusive Brutale, the Nürburgring edition, which is limited to 150 examples worldwide, right? Yeah. Super cool bike. Comes with a unique exhaust made by Aeriel only for that bike. Comes with the race ECU. It puts out 215 horsepower when it's all installed. And met those guys. Those guys also kind of knew Kay, and that's actually the first motorcycle, or the first MV Agusta that Kay rode was that Nürburgring. Just all like kind of hanging out. Kay came over to their office and took it for a little lap. And that's where it kind of just, like I said, it's all organic. It's not like these like cold emails like, hey, I noticed you with like blah, blah, blah. It's kind of just dudes right around Southern California hanging out. And then it happened that way. But I do find it to be extremely positive, and it's something I think we should, or I will continue to try to pursue. And I think my colleague agrees with me and gave good notes on the success so far of that little micro loan that I did with Kay and people like Kay.
So you guys do end up seeing some kind of conversion, because I'm seeing, we do have sponsors at least for the stream, so we do see conversion in regards to like sales, or at least them people that are watching that support and stuff. So I'm assuming you guys are monitoring this very close when we're talking about K. Again, the first time I'm seeing somebody, I'm talking to someone that actually met him, because I usually go K, because that's what it's written. So it's like I know it's called just K.
His name's just K.
And I think it's a very cool approach, because he is very adamant, very excited when it comes to super bikes, not naked bike. So it's very interesting to see his approach, or hearing him ride the bike and get a genuine reaction. So that's kind of really, really cool. And I thought to myself, interestingly, when I saw the video, my immediate thought was, he's going to be on a naked. What's going to be his thing about it? And an Italian company is actually reaching out to do something different. And immediately the light went on, and I'm like, Jose's the guy that's making this happen, because it's a very tough sale, because as you know, our industry is very small. Even partnering with other industry leaders and stuff like that, things tend to be a little bit more difficult if you have an idea of marketing, or very modern day, like, hey, a loaner bike to this person or that person, this what might happen. It's usually a dead no when we're talking about that stuff, because they don't see the value when it comes to it. And I think that's where your approach, I think your idea here is going to be pretty much brilliant. We're seeing people like 650 Eve. You're seeing him doing work with Aprilia now. He just got a bike from Aprilia, and this guy drives crazy conversion when we're talking about either Ducati or BMW, which usually are not out and people do not say it. But, on the back end, most of us can tell what's going on and stuff like that.
Yeah. It just seems right. It just it really is organic. It just seems like the next step to take. He's younger. This is how the kids that age are communicating. It's just a different game. I'm just adapting. I'm going with it. I'm learning as I go, and I just see it. I think I just have the vision. I see that this is K is gonna, like, guys like that are gonna be the future of what motorcycle media mostly is like. It's just a different. It's just the way it is now. You know what I mean? I think it's a bad idea to deny it and not go with it, and not feed it, and not grow with it, and not be there while it's all happening. I mean, it's just, when I met him, it was, I don't know, not that long ago, and he had 230,000 subscribers, and the other day he just hit 500,000,
Yeah, he's definitely making moves. But here's the thing, though, I wanted to quickly ask regarding that. Do you foresee this movement of social media marketing with, YouTubers or influencers, whichever path you want to take? Most people tend to have different terms for it. Do you foresee that overtaking like digital print, newsprint, or at least official journalism moving forward? Like you mentioned, younger people, college kids, and stuff like that are really making a big move to watch that stuff to make judgment.
I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and I really don't know, because I think everybody, there's different people, and they all approach things differently, right? Some guy wants to hear from the best racer in the world, right? So they'll read cycle news and see what Rennie has to say about something, like. And then some people, it's more about the aesthetic, I guess, or the feeling, right? And maybe there's people, what I have noted about someone, sorry to keep talking about him, but I like someone like Kay, is that a lot of his followers just really admire his lifestyle, right? They just admire how he lives, his aesthetic stuff, and boom, that's it. So now I just, the brand gets plugged into his lifestyle, which is very natural because it fits right into his lifestyle, and now it just becomes another brand, another piece of that lifestyle. It's hard to say. I think about this a lot, dude. I really, really do. And I actually remember butting heads a little bit with a previous, country manager of North America, because he was obsessed with like one or two magazines only, and they harpened super much, very much on just road racing only. And I I like I said, I am riding my motorcycle on the streets. I do go to these events. I do have casual conversation with tons and tons of people. And the reality is, dude, like none of these kids, they know who Marc Marquez is, right?
Yeah.
Maybe some of them got Marc Marquez helmets, but any deeper than that, I'm like, oh yeah, did you see, you see the qualifying time in P1 or something? They have no, it doesn't go, like they're not, a lot of them just aren't as obsessed with racing as kind of the older people are, or I don't know why yet, right? I haven't figured it all out. All I see is I'm figuring out that it's like a lot more simple. They see a cool reel or a cool TikTok. It's 5 seconds long. The item or the vehicle or whatever looks super badass in it, and that's it. That's all that's needed. It's 5 seconds of bam. It's again, I'm not in control of it. I'm just going with it. I see a wave. It's just how I see it unfolding right now. And I know I haven't really fully answered the question you asked, but I do think there'll always be a place for traditional, older style, more traditional journalism and things where, they really look at every fine detail of the bike. But I'm not sure how much of the consumer is going to consume that and make their decision versus just being like, hey, that looks cool, and this guy that I trust and follow is doing it, and I'm doing it.
Yeah. So
I really don't know. So currently we do both heavily. We heavily do both.
So I had a meeting with the team at Motivation. Same thing. Went out to MotoGP. Amazing time. Great to see the race and see the back end stuff. I think our community is a little bit different. I think a lot of people start off by seeing someone or a neighbor that had a bike or as a kid or something like that. It's almost like in reverse. So you probably had an uncle, or you saw somebody, or maybe saw someone on social media, and then you decide, oh, this bike looks cool, kind of thing. I'm gonna go with that style, or adventure, or super bike. Right? From that point on, you start riding, you enjoying yourself. I think you start slowly going through transitioning to, street riding, your highway stuff, bike nights. And then from there, we're talking about, oh, some people like roll racing. And then now, as you get further down the rabbit hole, I think the final stop is reverse in our community. It's towards the tail end. People start going, oh, I'm doing track days. Oh, track days is really amazing. All right, we're going to watch a MotoGP thing. Now it starts rolling into that. This is what I'm seeing in terms of pattern and how people kind of get immersed when we're talking about GP or World Superbike or something like that. It's never the other way around. Like, oh my God, I saw Valentino Rossi won this amount of race, or I watched Isle of TT. Now I want a Super Veloce. So there's a disconnect, basically, when you watch these legends ride and doing these amazing things. Most of us normies, we can't connect to that. We see the bikes, we see how fast, they're, dragging knees and helmets and stuff like that. We don't fully connect, but we connect with someone that's on TikTok or YouTube. That's because there's they're not here with you, but there's a feel that you get as if, oh, that's just like me. And I think that's where things tend to happen very organically, and people get inspired by others.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. And I think another thing I've noticed too through all this is Instagram, when it kind of started, I feel like it made all these little micro clicks, right? All these people in very, very niche in the specific things. Mm-hmm. And now at least me, or what I observe is like people are kind of pulling back, and then they're using the ability to explore these micro niches really quickly to kind of try out different things. And I do start to see a lot more people that aren't, a biker or a squid. They're just motorcyclists, and you might see them on a Triumph Bonneville, and then, they're like, oh, I tried a supermoto, and then kind of just boom, boom. Like actually a lot of them, like I know and see around at bike meets, that actually kind of throw me off when they buy a new bike, and I'm like, I would have never guessed, right? But I do see that happening. I like that. I'm a huge fan of that. There's motorcycle builders like Jeff Wright, Church of Choppers, who doesn't have this confined style. he'll do a sport bike or a chopper or a race bike or this, and and he rides, you know, trail and enduro, and he it's just a general motorcyclist. You're a motorcyclist. You're down for most of it, all of it. You're down to try all of it. There's no shame in trying all of it. There's no like bagging on someone because one day they were on a super bike and the next morning you saw them on a supermoto. You know what I mean? It's just it's just an all-encompassing, all-loving kind of just motorcyclist. That's it. If it's got two wheels and a motor and you can ride it, you know, they want to try it. They want to know about it. They're down to check it out. They're down to check out the kind of people surrounding it, the kind of artists surrounding it, the kind of writing surrounding it. I do see that, and I do like that, and that's how I am, or I try to be, and I do like that, and I do see that, and I do like that. Like with this opportunity, we started talking about, the person was I only ride super bikes, and that's totally cool, because when I was younger too, I only thought super bikes were cool, and then, you know, he kind of opened himself up to try a naked bike. And I think from what I saw from what he told me, you know, he actually kind of enjoyed it. He kind of realized, kind of saw the light, you know. Even me, when I was younger, more his age, I thought, oh, only super bikes are cool. And now I'm not particularly old, and I'm 31, but I really, really prefer naked upright bikes now. It's just, if I had to choose like one kind of bike where it's like, this is the best, you know, I can still ride really well, still looks good, still whatever. It's a hyper naked, like the Brutale RS, or the other ones from the other companies too. You know, they're all.
Yeah, I know you're a pro, man. I love how he's like, yeah, if I were to pick one, it'd be a Brutale RS or the other ones. You saw how he glazed over not naming any other brands. I like that. That's mean, right? I mean,
I've ridden them all. They're all killer, dude. Yeah, they're all killer. I was actually, if you look up motorcycle.com, there was a hyper naked shootout not that long ago, and I was, you know, the PR guy on it with the Brutale 1000 RR, and all those bikes are cool. They all got something cool about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you really can't lose. Really, it's really the real thing that really differentiates them all is really, I think, dealer support. I mean, if you're talking about anything that's Italian based, you're going to be in the same spot, really. But I think what's perfect for this time frame is that what you're doing. Again, I'm going to keep on going back to that because I think it's super crucial, because the more eyes you kind of get on the bike, the more people you get on the bike to try it, to kind of fall in love with it. Because what tends to happen once you're part of a brand, it's very difficult to disconnect and go somewhere else. And as it progresses in that space, what's going to happen? They have to have more dealer support. They have to have more support for it locally, because they're seeing a growth somewhere. So numbers are the overall bearing thing. Whether the company don't align with the idea of digital marketing like this or video marketing, but once they see the numbers are proving it, they don't have a choice, really.
Yeah. And in my overall mission that I'm on, as a huge one is brand awareness, because again, like, I'm really out there and I'm really at these events and I'm really talking to people, and I still meet Ducati riders who don't know what MV Agusta is.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of work to do, and I'm just going at it as hard as I can. But yeah, and that's even Ducati riders. But if I go, you know, lower, or I don't want to say lower, but if I go other places, you know, R1 riders, there's a grip of R1 riders who have not a clue what MV Agusta is. That one's a little more understandable. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, there's so much work to be done on the brand awareness front that just going for it.
I think you're definitely doing that. I'm just going to roll a clip real quick here. I want to show this marketing video by MV. I think these are really, really cool. And I think in combination with what you're doing and their approach, it's really going to help solidify the brand to the masses, really. I'm just going to play this real quick. Really, really dope video, guys.
Which one is it? What's that, Emmy?
I think so. Hold on.
A day rolls up in a BMW.
No, it's the one it's the one where it's the girl's in the desert. She's dancing, and then they're highlighting the bike.
Oh, the Rush.
Yeah, the Rush. Really, really cool.
The Rush. Yeah.
Let's get that rolling real quick. I'm probably gonna get like taken down for that, but it's all good. Doing it for the love, people.
Uno, dos, 1, 2, 3, 4.
And the styling cues, all that rush is nasty.
Yeah, it's cool. The press one is actually in my garage right now. Wrote it yesterday morning, the carbon copy. It's a definitely killer bike, 212 horsepower. It's not slow. But yeah, so that video is straight from Italy. That was like the launch video for the Rush.
Mm-hmm.
And that is actually, brainchild of the director of marketing over there. And then this great dude that works in Italy, he's like basically the photo and video kind of storyteller guy. His name's Marco. And he kills it. And he's just got killer aesthetic and knows what's up. And yeah, that is token like MV, kind of fantasy, kind of cool, edgy style. It's killer. I mean, I think it does justice. I think it explains what the Rush is about in a really cool and cheeky way.
Yeah, I mean, I like that approach, and I really like seeing stuff like this only because it tells me that they understand what is happening in the industry, what people want to see. It's almost like, I always like to give a Triumph credit for this because Triumph tend to really connect with millennials and younger people. I know Superbike is a big market and a lot of people like them, but they tend to understand, the bobber, you have some of the naked stuff that people are buying. They're just running amok out here in New York and Brooklyn. And everyone that's even not a rider, that are just getting into it, that whole scene. So they kind of know who to pitch to and how to kind of get into it kind of thing. And I think seeing what you're doing in that approach is very reminiscent of that, almost as if it's you have your foot to the ground and, more like your ears to the ground, hearing what people want. And I think that's kind of dope. And I think that's going to really help them gain ground on what they're trying to do, and or at least what you're trying to lead them to do.
Yeah. No, yeah, thanks. Yeah. And I do agree with you with Triumph and the Bonneville and stuff. Even actually earlier today, I was out and I saw a guy in, selvage jeans and brown motorcycle boots and the 3/4 helmet on and the denim jacket he was actually riding a CB 750, like a 76, but that's still like very much like a look, and that's still very much like a look that when your average mid-30s man says like, oh, I'm gonna try a motorcycle, that's what pops into their head.
Dude, you understand this. I love this. It's like when you're talking to somebody that actually gets it, it's so good. Because if you transition in from K, right, and then to Triumph, exactly what you're saying is exactly, you want an image of it, the lifestyle of what he kind of portrays and what the demographic, which is something that I'm a bit of a Ducati fanboy kind of guy, and even Ducati tend to not really get it. At least not yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you know, but the MV Agusta's tagline is motorcycle art, right?
Yes.
MV Agusta motorcycle art. So the CEO, Timur, and our director of marketing here in the U.S., Nathan, and myself are very much, in line with that. We're understanding of what that means and of like this. It's almost like we get to, and I'm kind of in this cool spot and this cool opportunity where it's almost like I get to create the MV Agusta look and lifestyle, at least here in North America, or drive it, to where we want. And we actually recently, I don't know if you saw, we recently made a video with this cool dude, a day, and it's like the California like lifestyle, and it's actually me in the video because I'm actually a fully competent tech, so it's actually me setting up the bike, and I actually am setting it up because we got it like earlier that day, and I'm scrambling to set it up, and then a day rolls up in his M3 that's all modified, he pulls up past the Porsche GT3 and some MVs outside, and he's got I can't remember what sneakers he was wearing that day. Probably Dunks or Jordan. And
I'd say Jordan. If it's Jordan, a day.
Jordan 4, whatever. And and he's, you know, and he comes up and we say what up, like just like we would. I've known a day a long time, and you know, and then he hops on the bike, he takes off, and he's in a day get up, and then boom, next scene he's in the Canyon ACH, right, his home. Like he's mobbing, rides home, puts his bike inside of his, you know, his sick apartment, which is real life. He didn't do that for the video. That's where he puts his motorcycle, right, inside of his hallway, inside of his apartment. He got the art and stuff. Then he, you know, kind of changes his outfit and then rides the bike out to like some nighttime gathering, you know, a restaurant, club, whatever you want to fill in the imagination. Yeah, it was a cool video. It was the brainchild of the director of marketing here, Nathan, and it came out good. And I think that's the direction we really kind of want to head, where we get to place MV Agusta as the cool luxury item or the cool motorcycle for those people that are in, you know, that are conscious of how stylish they are, that are conscious of art, that love art, that but that still love performance machines, right? Like I'm not trying to, you know, put anyone down, but I've ridden a Triumph Bonneville, you know, around the block a couple times. I never want to ride it again. You know what I mean? Like, ever. Sorry, you know what I mean? But it's just like that. But yeah, there's a whole scene, there's a whole people, and K falls into that. You know, K dresses nice. He's always, you know, like dressed cool, whatever, and he likes stylish things, and boom, it's kind of what fits more like than this like old cafe kind of racer style. Like why would a dude who like is super fit like a day, right, versus super fit, super stylish, flossy lifestyle, why would he ride a $10,000 cafe racer? Right? It doesn't make sense. It makes sense for him to ride a you know, $45,000 plus or so, you know, super hyper bike that performs and looks good. Like, you know what I mean? It's just what matches, and he already does. You know, he's got his personal Panigale R, which he just got painted. I don't know if you've seen it. It's super cool. But that's I'm kind of rambling here, but that's the lifestyle like kind of chasing right now to kind of create and envelop the brand into.
I think, okay, so what we do here on the street, I actually like to see people on a glow up. So I think it's kind of cool, and I think what you're doing is great. I'm gonna just, I mean, it's great to see a day. You're doing work with him also. Seems like a very, very cool guy. I think I bumped into him in New York once in a Dainese event. But I also wanted to ask. I'm gonna ask something after, but I just wanted to kind of throw my 2 cents in here of some potential people that I think, you know, are really dope that you might want to take a look into. Of course, I have to mention the Godfather 650.
Yeah,
sure
I actually watched his, like, before coming on this. I watched one of your episodes and it was his.
Yeah, I think Eve is definitely a person that you might want to touch base with.
I was impressed with his bikes, and I like his philosophy of I put so much money in them, why would I sell them? He said something like that.
He's a great guy, great personality on camera, and he loves motorcycles. So I would say you got to get a bike in his hand ASAP. I really like seeing the Killer Cam. Love his riding style. Very cool, very chill guy. I think him on a Rush or something crazy like that, a dragster, would be amazing to watch. And I have to say Fastlane D. Fastlane D got to get on one too. I think these are they're bumping a lot of doors right now and really making a lot of noise. And really personality-wise, I think it's great to kind of, since that's the idea here, I think that'd be really dope to see them on there as well. So
yeah, I recently did a little thing with someone who actually follows you. Maybe you know her in person, Laura Kraft.
Laura Kraft. She's awesome. She's awesome. We actually did an interview together too. Yeah, she's been on here.
Yeah, so she was here on the West Coast, and she was riding with 2 gentlemen that I know very well. And she hit me up, saying, "Hey, I'm gonna be riding with these 2 guys. I know those guys very well." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. You know, like come down here." She grabbed the F3RR, and I think she enjoyed it for the time.
This industry is, I keep telling everyone that watches this, the industry is so small that you never know who's who and who you bump into, and that's really dope. Now, I have to ask this. We always try to drop gems here when we're talking about the stream, or at least try to help people that watches. what would you encourage, or at least advice would you give to someone that's either in the industry or at least influential or something like that, or has a following that's looking to get their hand on one of the bike or a press bike, or at least do content, or at least do work? What would be your best advice?
So obviously, network, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then make it apparent to people what you do or what you can do. And then for me, like what's personally worked for me is just work really hard all the time and just always just be on point. Like just be on point, be prepared, and work, and don't make excuses. But that's just how I've been. It's just it's not too different. The formula for being successful at anything. You know what I mean? Just be focused. If you either got the passion or you don't, right? Use that. Stay focused. Be on point. Be honest. Be hardworking. It's like with anything. I had it before this and whatever. I worked in apparel industry, and the only reason I got that job and it was fairly nice paying and fun job. Just because I had the skills of somebody who had already gone to school for that skill set, and I gained those skills just because I started doing it when I was 12 and I was self-taught. So by the time I'm 21, I was already like two whole college sessions like ahead of what your average FITM graduate. You know what I mean?
So
I actually would. Sorry, I just wanted.
No, go ahead.
Constantly, I would not constantly, but it happened enough times where it was kind of funny. I would show one of my colleagues who graduated from FITM for graphic design how to do a process on Photoshop, or how to do a process on this, And it wasn't like in a condescending way. It was just, he'd be like, "Hey, like, I can't like figure out how to get this done." Oh, right here, you know what I mean? And so it just focus and being on point and always being ready to do it has worked for me. I think it does generally work. I know it's the most cliche thing to say, but all those quotes and stuff that any professional athlete or artist or anyone of any sort of notoriety puts out generally do make sense. You just have to actually do them and not think you're doing them, and be true, honest with yourself that you are doing it, that you are being on point, and that you are working your ass off.
Now here's the other. Oh, Mr. Black Moses is in the building too. Actually, he just joined the chat. I don't know. You probably know who Black Moses is, right?
Yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah. He'd be cool to see on MV2.
I think we've met briefly. He definitely knows my colleague Nathan for sure.
Yeah. It's so great. Every time you bring someone on, everyone tends to know one another. And I always preach to everyone. I'm like, listen, everyone knows someone. Don't burn any bridges. Be careful on how you do business, or at least how you talk to people, because you don't know who's who. And it's really great to see.
Yeah.
And I follow that emphasis. And even Black Moses, he's been on as well. A great interview with him, and he's mentioned, he was like, if you want to do it, say you're gonna do it, and work and work and work. And it's amazing because we started the stream fairly early. I mean, we're talking about 42 episodes now, and the 41 episode. And he said to me, he's like, "You're doing it. Just keep doing it, doing your thing." And it's like, that went a long way, because every now and then you have those slopes up and down, and I'm like, just keep doing it. I just really want to do it, and it is what it is, But here's the thing I wanted to ask, right?
Yeah.
I think your video went out, but it's fine.
One second.
I wanted to ask about this because a lot of people tend to want to know also. I know when we talk about, marketing, or at least getting the bikes out to people, I'm guessing usually it's not a paid thing, but do you see an opening where that could be a thing where people do get paid for this as well? Because, of course, it takes time when you do content, you do videos, or you produce something. Is this something that might be in the works, or depending on who's who and who's working on the project?
It's always I have a lot of experience working in production in general, right? Just from being in apparel. Like, one of my best friends is actually a fairly successful, movie director, and it's always, it's like one of those things, there's 1,000 ways to cut a deal. You know what I mean? It's always just, some people do want some money for producing what they produce, right? Like a notable one, let's say, that I do know for sure, like it generally works like that. Let's say maybe like Donut Media, for instance, right? Like, big company. And then other people, they have their things set up with their advertisers and stuff, and then that's where they get, you know, their income, and then they get their income because they create, you know, cool content. So what do they need to create cool content is to collaborate with cool products or cool people. There's just, I hate to give such a cryptic or confusing maybe to some answer, but there's 1,000 ways to cut a deal. And yeah, some people are getting paid by this side, some people are getting paid by this side, some people are just doing, you know, they use their thing to have another job in the industry, and then they use their platform just to kind of for fun experiences. You know what I mean? It's all over the place right now. And the whole social media thing, and you know, it's still very new, and it's like still very much the wild west. You know what I mean? I still actually sometimes I'm like, I see maybe like a brand just re-story a photo or something that someone took, and I'm like, wow, like imagine if back in the day, X company just grabbed someone's photo and just put it on a pamphlet but just for one trade show for 24 hours and never even told the person, or you know what I mean? It's wild. It's different. It's different. It's super different. And a lot of all the older people that used to, you know, are all like clued in on how it used to happen, get very confused, flustered, and frustrated. And I get it. But it's just, I don't know. Everything changes, dude. Nothing stays the same. And if you don't adapt and go with it, then the only thing that gets left behind is you, right? It's not going to stop for you just because you're upset with it, or it just keeps going. And again, I'm kind of rambling, but it's just, I try to give people the ideas, kind of create their own ideas and go and figure it out for their own. But there's just 1,000 ways that it's done, and there's 1,000 ways to do it. And there's 1,000 ways you can do it.
Believe it or not, you're not rambling, man. It's a great, you know, answer, right? I mean, you're not going completely in depth in answering, because you really can't. Like, you know, I've mentioned this to people about, you know, some people tend to look at it this way. Oh, I don't have 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. It all depends. There's so multiple ways of you gaining revenue, or at least doing business with people. If you can produce something that's ideal, or at least be brand friendly. I always tell people this. I mean, I try to carry my channel a certain way. I even get made fun of a little bit because overall I have a general idea of what I want to do long term. And it might not give the rewards right then and there, but I feel like the ideal way is to position things now for later. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's a really, really cool approach. And also, one of the things you kind of chimed in on was really grabbing someone else's story, or at least some OGs that might not license something. It's like you said, Wild West. It's really wild. Even to the point, even for me on Instagram, it's kind of tough. Who's the originator of what? Who did what? It's just like a replica of a replica of a replica, as long as there's a flow of eyes on it, or at least traction coming on it. It's very difficult to really solidify who did what and who has right to it, or who should be gaining some kind of financial benefit from it. And then sometimes you just like, I got this, I make this little zine, right? And I call it a zine because it's in the spirit of like an old punk rock zine where the only reason you made it was just a, passion of what you're into, right? Mm-hmm. It's called Speed. Speed Milk is the name. Speed Milk, one letter, right? Or one word. And I'm actually about to hit print on my fourth one. And all it is just bikes and some other motorsports things that I just really like. That's it. And it's like the first one was 66 pages. Now they're 100 pages. And I don't do them for any other reason other than like I want to do it, and it's just fun. It's just art for me. It's like to curate it and stuff. And somehow along the way, I do somehow sell a decent amount of them, which is nice. I'm like, that's cool. But it's something that like you're kind of saying, I do it now for the now. In the future, could it be something I don't know. Maybe I do it because I love it. If I don't like doing it, I'm not going to do it anymore. Yeah. I do it only to deposit into the passion and the love for motorcycling. I don't take anything from anyone. I go and use my time to shoot the bikes that I find cool, funky, passionate for whatever reason. I go find the artists that I like and I jive with, and I just fill it and I put it into these books for, I don't know, just to make something cool in print that you can hold and look at. It's beautiful. And kind of conveys what's going on in my brain as far as my relationship to motorcycles and the aesthetic surrounding motorcycles that I like.
that's it, really. Um, I, I'm not trying to get rich from it. I don't think it's not. It's just it's a thing, you know. But to give more people insight, it is those kinds of things that I do that do keep me, I guess, relevant, and that did lead me to where I am today. You know, I didn't get asked to shoot, you know, the press launch for MV Agusta in the beginning of 2015 for no reason. You know what I mean? I was hungry and I was there, and I was, like I said, I was on point and I was doing the work, and I was a notable photographer of motorcycles at that time, and it just perfect storm, explosion, I guess, big bang, my own big bang, and here I am now.
Sorry, that's my doggy.
Oh, no worries. My dog barks sometimes too.
Yeah, man, it's really cool to hear this, and it's kind of inspiring to me because I mean I think we've all been to a point where, oh yeah, I want to do this, I want to do it, you know, for the passion. I'm really enjoying it, or at least you're doing your ride, or you're producing content. For even behind me, if you guys probably can't see, well, you probably can't see it, but for example, let me do it. You can look behind me. Before even doing the stream, like this little set rig here, I used to record in my garage mainly, and doing like a review for Alpine Stars gear, and it's like nonstop. I'm like jumping to the stream, and I was cutting and importing, and there's a lot of time that gets to a point. It's like, oh man, is this ever gonna work, or is this ever gonna happen? And again, I always kind of surround myself around very positive people that has different outlook than I am, or at least have succeeded in certain things that I want to achieve. So it's almost like just work and do it,
Yeah.
and the time will come. And it's like, and it does get frustrating at sometimes, because sometimes you don't get the rewards as you're expecting, but it's all good. And then the last stream I had last Sunday, which was really interesting, I had because the platform we use for everyone, it's not just like somebody like yourself who's in the industry, or someone that's famous, that's like big or anything like that. We're bringing regular everyday people and just have a conversation about what they're passionate about. And Solo Rider 82, he was the guest last week, and he mentioned which I never even thought of myself at all. He said, you're really just documenting the culture. I never thought about it, not even once. He's like, if you start watching those from the beginning till now, it's like hearing everyone's story, from David Piccioni, him painting and, you know, painting carbon fiber. He's like, you're really documenting the culture of motorcycling. And I not once did that ever cross my mind at all.
You're making deposits into the history of what's really going on digitally, which is it right now. And
which is
like
cool.
Same. Yeah, it's just it's all rad, and it all creates energy, which has to keep going somewhere, and likely just keeps going into and through motorcycling, which helps us all. That's the way I feel about it. About things like this.
Yeah, man. So you're out in California. You've always lived there. Do you foresee any? Sorry.
Oh, since I was 5. But yeah.
Since you were 5. Do you foresee?
Sorry, side note.
Yeah.
Side note. I was born in Toronto. So.
You're. Oh my God, he's from the 6, man. He's a Canadian dude. Yeah. I didn't see that. That would have been my thing to know. That I didn't know.
Curveball.
I'll take it. Do you foresee MV making a move towards more on the East Coast? Because I would definitely love to get my hands on one, or at least test ride or whatever. Again, for me, even when I was getting mine, it was not even at a dealer. It was like a certified thing where I ended up getting that Brutale 800. And do you foresee that being a thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I recently had this guy. He's really bad. I talk to him daily on Instagram here and there, and he rides with a bunch of dudes in New York, and he had a Desmo Sedici, and then he bought the Brutale Nürburgring as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he's up there in New Jersey somewhere. I don't really know the area. I actually, believe it or not, I've never even been to New York and that whole area. So when they talk about it and stuff, since I've never been there, I don't really like fully context it. If that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, there's a dealer there. There's a couple of dealers there. I do want to travel there and see how myself I could, you know, kind of expand and stuff. I have worked with a little bit with there's a classic CCC, Classic Car Club, or something like that. And
yep, the Classic Car Club, right on the FDR. Yeah, we've
one of the girls who worked there wanted, you know, an MV at one point. I tried to help her get on one, things like that. And then I don't know if you saw my thing or on my Instagram or whatever, but I recently had a big show called Italians Do That Better, big like Italian only thing. And I've kind of had like talks with the guy that I did it with, and then with my bosses at MV as well, to maybe do like an East Coast version and see if we can just drum up, you know, some of that brand and that passion for just Italian vehicles in general, kind of connect people and see like, you know, kind of where it leads. I really like I said in the beginning, like how I'm out here, and I that's how I met people like Kay and other people. I've never been out there. I've never been out there, right? So I just don't really know, and I don't have enough of a pulse. But yeah, it's something that I want to do, and I need to explore for sure. It'll come. I just haven't yet. And obviously, you know, everybody, the whole pandemic put a big kind of gap in everybody's thing, right? This whole like feels like almost 2 years lost of just like, you know, kind of spinning in the ice and like, yeah. But now that everything's kind of back on track, I do, yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, it'll go, it'll grow there for sure. But
get out of here. Come on.
I gotta figure out where my role is in that and how to make it happen, which I have confidence in that I can make it happen, or I can make an impact for the brand and just for Italian motorcycling in general, hopefully in that area. Just, yeah.
The Classic Car Club is definitely in its spot out here in Manhattan. I think it has that exact idea that you're talking about, the lifestyle, a lot of supercars there in that event. There's a restaurant there. I went to two events there, actually. One, I think Ducati hosted something, and then the other one was when, what do you call it? Josh Herring was out here also for an event. So it's definitely a spot. I mean, we definitely have a pretty big community out here in New York. There's, you know, a lot of city street riding, and then about maybe an hour out, you have a lot of back roads and stuff to hit. So it'd be super interesting. I think it's a good place for MV to be. Just seeing them bringing out these new super bikes, super naked bikes, and I think is just the perfect timing. As soon as we have some idea of how easy it would be to maintain these bikes or take care, which I think other Italian brands struggle with as well, because if anything were to go down, I had Falou on last time. He was out of Italy, and he mentioned there's still a wait for parts even if you're in Italy, so it's pretty common and stuff.
It's all brands, dude. I'm a very good friends with a lot of techs, and from Harley Davidson to Triumph to Ducati to BMW, and it's just always been a thing. It always kind of will be a thing. And but what I will say now, confidently say, is that MV is right there and on par with the rest of them now. It used to be like MV was a lagging and whatever. Now I can confidently and honestly say that we're on par with everybody else. You're not gonna wait any longer or be any more inconvenienced by owning an MV. Granted, as long as you're by a dealer, and if you're far away from a dealer, that might be the only thing. But if you're close enough to a dealer, as you would be for any other dealer, any other brand, you do not have any extra inconvenience or any extra hindrance in your ownership of the motorcycle.
Oh wow!
It's something that our CEO Timur really, set out to fix, and he really did a lot of it. And this is also, I can say this from being the guy who manages and services and does the whole press fleet and all the press bikes. I personally still have yet to wait more than 10 business days for a part that I've ordered from Italy.
Sorry, my dog is like picking through the office stuff. She's.
Oh, no worries.
Say hi. Say hi to the stream. Fine. See. All right. She's a cockapoo. Get out of here, please. Every stream, I think she ends up coming where I have to pull her up a little bit. But you know what's so funny? The buzzing that's happening as of late. As other brands become a little bit more mainstream, they're saying that they're getting a little bit dethroned by MV in terms of stylings and styling cues. And you can see where I'm going with this and who I'm probably referring to. But MV is really making waves when we're talking about styling cues and the way they're designed. One of my favorite thing is really the headlight that's following the roads based on your lean angle. Also the tail end, the even stock exhaust. I'm actually gonna play a video real quick here, just to kind of show people this instead of me talking about it. Hold on. Just the bikes are extremely beautiful and well designed, and I think anybody would. I'll just play up this lineup real quick here.
21 will be a year packed with exciting innovation, virtual events, safety upgrade, and new releases. We are going to start right away with the unveiling of the first completely renewed model in our 3-cylinder, Brutale and Draster range. From now until June, we will be giving you every month some thrilling
actually,
of the new
Kay touched on that on his when we had the Brutale. You know, most stock exhausts nowadays are pretty big fat cans for the most part, and whatever. And ours, especially on the Brutale, are just still. You don't even you really don't need to change the exhaust. What are you going to change it for? Actually, some people change it for the Aero titanium one, and it looks pretty much the same, just a little sexier because it's titanium and has Aero laser etched on it.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
louder.
You guys have probably one of the best looking exhaust stock.
Yeah, and we work. So we're lucky. We work with like the Nürburgring. We work with Aero, the F3RR. We work with Acura, and the Dragster RC that just came out. We work with SC Project. So we have relationships with all three of them, and like all three of those bikes are incredible sounding and get serious performance gains as far as power and weight removed from the bike when you put these exhaust kits that come with the bike on it.
Are you finding that they're encountering issues? I know there's a big push now for Euro 5 compliance where the bikes are not as pronounced sound-wise when we're talking about having it out.
I don't know too much about
Go ahead.
all that. Yeah, sorry. I don't know too much about the technical parts about all that. I do know though that, like, for instance, the new F3RR, the whole, basically from the header back, like, so the can, this like sub can that it has, like this other muffler, and then that's all replaced, but it's all made to be Euro 5 legal. I don't know how they did it. I don't know what. But with that said, the F3RR, it's got an Acura exhaust. It isn't too loud. It's a little bump over the stock exhaust, but the stock exhaust does sound fine already. But I don't know too much about the technicals and all that. I will say that I think in general, Euro 5 standards are generally frustrating for motorcycle engineers of every single company. So.
I don't think it necessarily hinders the bike itself. I think the real crux here is really not having the bike too loud where it's disturbing people or noise pollution. So you're still gonna get performance. It's just not as loud.
Yeah, but there's things I disagree with, you know, and this is like, for instance, you know, Euro 5, one of them is like engine noise, but not exhaust noise, engine noise. So they're like really picky about that, which it's kind of like whatever. So every company has to do weird things, and there's like little sound deadening covers on things and stuff for like what, right? Which in turn gives us cooling issues, not us, but just anything, right? You start wrapping something in sound deadening device, and now you got, you know, it's got to stay cool still, you know, it's a motor. And then another thing too, like which I find super funky, you know, because of Euro 5, you can't make a motorcycle that allows ABS to be turned off anymore. And it's like, why? You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, why does that need to be like a law? Like, who's being kept safe by not being able to turn off ABS? Like, let the person decide, you know, like, if they want to turn off ABS, turn off ABS. If you want to keep it on because you think it's safe, keep it on. Yeah. But not allowing it to be turned off as part of a, you know, standard for Europe, you know, it's kind of like, it's like silly.
So in other words, guys, go out and buy your bike now before everything changed by law, and you're gonna get stuck with whatever that's out right now. I'm keeping all my bikes as is.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm not too versed, but I did notice a few things actually recently. The new Gas Supermoto, the 700, has ABS front only, which is cool. So I guess they were able to skirt a little bit, and ABS on the front. You can still lock the rear, have fun, all the Supermoto fun you want, whatever, you know.
I don't know if it's like that on my bike, but for the Street Fighter, I know when I did the clear clutch cover, and I changed the engine casing, there's a lot of dampeners for the engine sound itself, and that was wild. So you could see it on the inside of the casing, which I took all that stuff out, which didn't change too much, but the bike definitely runs a little bit cooler. The other thing, I know on the Hyper, it's easy to turn off the ABS and traction control completely off. Or you can keep it in the front, which what I tend to do, keep it on the front end, and then the back, that way you can slide it if you really want, turn off the ABS there. But it's kind of weird that they are removing that, I think.
Yeah. It's like regulations written by people who clearly don't ride motorcycles. Like every other government regulation. It's all right. It's like, thanks, guys.
All right. So where do you see yourself the next couple of years with MV and the overall idea? I'm sure because somebody like you kind of plan things out, at least have a general idea, and really seeing what's moving in the ether to kind of make it happen.
So as a brand, you know, we got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. I'm sure you've seen, or and maybe you haven't, but there's the whole Lucky Explorer project, right? Which is a full-on adventure bike. It's going to come out in two versions, the 9.5 and the 5.5. 9.5 being a 950cc, full-on, like, dare I use the term luxury adventure bike. Very nice, forged carbon fiber, beautiful. It'll be, I mean, we've already seen it, but when we see it in person, you're gonna say that's the most beautiful adventure bike I've ever seen, right? And then we have the 5.5, which is a low price point entry motorcycle, made for someone who needs a commuter and someone who likes that style of bike, but can't really go up to a $30,000 bike. It's gonna be, I think, around, probably in the US, probably around 10,000 or so.
Wow, 10,000.
Yeah, it's just a 550cc thumper. It's gonna look cool. It's gonna look the part. It's gonna be badass. It's gonna be a nice bike. But yeah, so that in itself is super exciting. And then at EICMA coming up here in November, you're gonna see some more stuff from us that will get a lot of people really excited. So with that said, it's just, I'm gonna continue on my path with my colleague Nathan and stuff, of just getting brand awareness out there and getting brand trust back up and getting all this stuff going, and then just pulling in all these new products, exciting products, because we are MV Agusta, you know what I mean? We are hyper exotic bikes. We are exotic bikes. We are motorcycle art. So everything we make, and you'll see, this is more and more exciting, and just keep pushing these new and exciting items and products just through and through, and keep helping to build a brand here in North America. That's really it, as simple as I can put it.
Yeah, I think in the wave you're going, man, it's completely
exciting
happening.
stuff is coming.
Just gonna roll. I have to roll this clip also. Just, I always love seeing genuine reaction of people experiencing a bike for the first time. I am referring to Kay's video quite a bit, so hopefully.
The Nürburgring, is it the silver one or is it the Nürburgring?
No, the silver one. That was the most recent one, and I'm like, I really love his reaction on this bike, and let's take a look, guys.
All right, this bike is fast. Woo, this thing is like really torquey, and it's really light too. Yeah, this bike has a lot of torque. I mean, 208 horsepower is such a small bike. I'm not really sure how much it weighs, but it feels light. It could be also the more upright position. That's why it feels more nimble and all. Actually, it doesn't sound bad for a stock bike. It has a sound to it, you know what I mean? It doesn't sound like nothing because a lot of stock bikes literally sound like absolutely nothing. Alright, this thing pulls, like I'm not even trying to go fast and it just wants to go. Yeah, the torque on this thing is pretty crazy. It's kind of weird sitting like so upright. I'm so not used to it. There's these little pops. You hear the pops? No wonder the Nürburgring pops like crazy, because that thing has a full titanium system. If the bike pops like bone stock, so I'm pretty sure not crazy.
I played this clip for a specific reason. I mean, we're talking about genuine reaction, and it's very, very different from seeing a professional journalist talk about a bike when you talk about the stats and ABS, traction control, leaning angle, measurements, and everything else. I think, you know, to go back to the same thing, being connected with someone is just generally like, oh, it's totally having that reaction I like. It's popping. You hear the backfire or something like that on the stock OEM, which I don't think it's something I actually even heard on any stock exhaust, to be honest. Usually, unless you get an exhaust system that's tuned, you're not going to get that reaction.
Yeah, dude, I love it. I mean, yeah, that's the rush. So I have a rush, like I said, and like even when you start it, like there's like the kind of the idling hum that bike makes just sounds exotic. Like it just, I got some friends down here that's got a Koenigsegg and a Pagani, and I roll over to his spot sometimes and stuff, and it really is that same, when I start the rush, it's that same feeling that I get when he starts his Pagani. And I'm not saying that as like some sort of PR term or something, but, and the looks that I get are also the same. I go to Cars and Coffee down here, which is the biggest cars and coffee in the U.S., right? St. Clemente, biggest weekly car show in the U.S., thousands of cars yesterday, right? Even on a hot day like yesterday. And the other day I went, my friend was on the Nürburgring, and I rode my personal F4RR. And I'm like, put my helmet on and stuff. He started his bike. I started my bike. I turn around, like pull out. And there's like 30 some odd dudes with their iPads and their iPhones out, just filming, which doesn't happen with any other of the motorcycles. I'm telling you. And it's that thing where they have that like that exotic star power when you see them in person. I mean, you see the photos, you're like, yeah, that's sexy. When you see them in person, and you kind of start noticing the way other people look at them, and it's kind of just this like intoxicating, like, what is that? Yeah.
No, I talk about this all the time, man. It's like these Italian brands that design their design cues. It's hard to explain to anyone until you experience it, because you can't be like, oh, you have to get this bike because it sounds so good. There's a feeling you get. You just explain it exact, and it's very difficult to convey this to someone until you go out and try something yourself. So guys, you're definitely gonna have to get your hands on one of these bikes, and I could speak to it only because of, I mean, my experience is not current to the most, newest model, but I'm talking about a Brutale 800. We're talking about years ago. I had the same feeling you just expressed now. It was the same reaction.
No, yeah, and now, dude, the 800 is similar to yours, but the frame is improved, stiffer plates down by the swing arm. Little things like that we don't even actually really even talk about. They're just improvements that are made. Mm-hmm. And then now the Brutale has the same full-on 5.5-inch full-color TFT screen that connects to your phone and everything, but while still being the same bike kind of. So we finally have updated that across the line. So you probably remember in the year that you just had a little black and white thing, and it was cool. Yes. It had the RPM across the top and the speed really big. It worked. It did the job. But now it's all color, and you can connect your phone to it, and it can tell you the text messages you're getting and the phone call you're getting, and you can change music on it and all that fancy stuff that all these consumers beg for so long.
I'm so glad you mentioned this. I'm so glad you mentioned this. Again, I'm referring to other brands. It's a comparison thing. This is not to take shots at anyone. I love seeing that. The fact that I think BMW does it as well. The Bluetooth connection. Stock when you're coming out. I think that's super dope. Something that people are going to relate to, that they can connect their phone instead of having to pay an additional $500 to get the Bluetooth activated on your bike. I'm talking to you, Ducati.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that.
So that's really dope, that right off the bat that you can connect your phone and get directions and stuff like that. Really, really cool. But I have to ask you, I'm going to pull this up also here. That's the MV Agusta site you guys have a lot of models, man. I mean, just on the dragster, there's the RR, there's the Rush, there's just like different levels of this here. I'm just gonna kind of pull it up, just kind of have people see this here. And I was gonna ask you why so many models, and I mean, you can't say exactly why so many models. I'm talking about in terms of, for example, right now we're looking at the Rush 1000. See, we have the Brutale, we have the Rosso, the R, 1000RR, 1000RS. There's so many different, and it's some of them are 3-cylinder, some of them are 4-cylinders. If someone's not well versed, they could probably pick any one of these. Like, I'm gonna totally open this one up because this thing is freaking beautiful. Look at this thing.
It's all one perfect, sexy, perfectly designed family. Most handsome family.
This freaking bike is absolutely stunning, and I'm a little bit of a sucker for naked bikes, naked super bikes. So that this is like a thing.
Which one are you looking at?
I'm looking at the Rush.
Oh yeah.
That's great. What does something like that come up as a entry price point for the Rush? I'm looking at the most expensive one.
Like 46 and change, 45 and change.
Dude, oh my God. I'm telling you, man, every single company's going up big numbers, man.
It is limited. There's 300 in the world only, you know. It does come with everything you see on there. That it comes with all that, the SC Project exhaust, all that stuff. It's 212 horsepower bike. And like I said, that bike is one of the bikes where you go ride for 2 miles, and in that 2 miles, there was at least 10 people that broke their neck or tried to take a photo of you or tried to film you or give you a thumbs up or whatever. Riding it is an experience. So the whole thing is an experience, a rush. Like it's it. It's like the video that you played, and it's the name, and it's a rush. It is a rush. It's the rush. It's just the way it is. And yeah, like any other rush or any other Pagani or any other whatever, you gotta pay for it. It's just.
I'm assuming these bikes are made for a specific demographic or specific crowd of people to actually purchase them. But let's say if you didn't fit that narrative, where you don't have that budget to grab one of these bikes. Let's say if you wanted to get one anyway, where would you recommend somebody where to start, or at least what they would look at? That would be
in the U.S.
Yeah,
in the U.S. you go for the Brutale 800RR. That's it. That's the naked sport bike. That is just it. And I know it's still a lot, again, relatively, but it's only $19,998, and you're getting like really impeccable, beautiful paint. Like the paint on that bike is out of control, and you're getting all the features. You get the IMU, you get everything, and it's still 140 horsepower. And yeah, if you're spec sheet racing or whatever, but dude, that's 140 horsepower from a triple that hits hard. But anybody who rides it is like, oh wow, like it hits right enough. I don't really think anybody needs more than 140 horsepower for anything except for top end speed.
Sorry, I'm just pulling this here as we. This is the RR you're talking about, right? I just pulled it up here on screen.
Yeah, so 800 RR. So I guess on the website it'd be called Brutale RR.
Yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful bike, and we're talking about 19 out the door. You'd probably be like maybe 23,000, maybe.
Yeah, 3 colorways. It's like a split kind of crimson red with gray, or like a split black with gray, or a split black with red. Now, that bike too. The photo shoot for that bike was done at Monaco. Super just sexy racy vibes. It's killer. It is a killer bike. This guy actually I know has been a lifelong Ducati owner, and now in his early 60s finally made the leap to MV Agusta, and that's the bike that he got, and he loves it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I could see myself riding this bike 100%. I mean, then again, I'm pretty much in that boat.
It's light, dude. It's light and pleasurable to ride. And in New York, somewhere you got to park in these little spots and things like that. Like it's like sometimes when you're pulling out of the garage, it's like am I pulling out a supermoto? You know what I mean? Like it's light. It's nice. It's a killer bike for sure.
One of the main things that we didn't really fully touch on, guys, I'm telling you, hearing this bike and hearing the engine, how it sound, you're gonna get very similar feeling to like any other brand that makes you feel that way. I'm not a lot of them. You have the cross-plane engine on an R1. That's, you know, the muscle bike, right? That has, you know, character. We're talking about if you're looking for something that's very unique, I think this bike will definitely give you that feeling and the sound of it and the way it revs up. Also, it climbs up. I've seen a couple of reviews.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting a little bit more popular even on YouTube, where people are kind of posting videos, and you could see genuine reaction with them, and it very, 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 very nice. The riding triangle, I think some people mention that if you're kind of a smaller stature person, it's going to fit real perfect, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. All our bikes kind of do skew to slightly a little bit smaller, but I mean, what sport bike doesn't? You know, it's just I'm at 5'8.5" ish, whatever. You know, I don't know, 5'9" on a good day, 5'8" on a bad day. And, they fit me like a glove, but especially the F3 and the Super Veloce, it's like right in there. But that's kind of just generally all of it. You know what I mean? These bikes are crafted essentially from you know, race and, you know, race data and stuff like that. All these racers are my size or smaller. There's very few that are that much taller, you know.
I'm just quickly looking at the chat here. There's quite a few. This is quite a man. That's expensive. You need to get another mortgage to buy a bike nowadays. I mean, that's how the market is really going. I mean, granted, guys, you can't be like, hey, MV's expensive. I think pretty much any make and model or brand you're looking at now, if you don't have 20 grand, if you're not going to get anything, that's nice, really.
Even the Street Fighter V2, what is 17,000, 17.2 or something like that?
Yeah, out the door, you're pretty much 20,000.
Yeah, so that's the V2, right?
Yeah, that's
so
the V2.
So that's a comparable bike to this 800RR. It's where it's at. I don't know. Like I said, it's also like it's a whole lifestyle thing. Like it's just, you're doing all this, you're doing whatever. You're not doing the $10,000 cafe racer anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're moving up here, and it's a move. And I get it. It's expensive, but so are Paganis, so are Ferraris, so is Gucci, and you know what I mean. So is my AGV.
Pretty much, Sasson, step your game up. All right. Go to the bank, get a little bit more money out, and get yourself that MV if you want to play with the big boys.
Yeah, that's where Ducati is, and that's where BMW is too. So.
That's true. That's true. And everyone tend to fall in line, you know, like when we talk about in terms of pricing, we're talking about a lot more technology. And to be honest, as I mentioned a little bit earlier with my Street Fighter, my V4 Street Fighter, it doesn't even have the Bluetooth connection. It takes an additional $500 for you to do that after you spend, you know, what, 34 grand, $32,000 out the door, which is kind of wild, and you still have to get them to install this for you. So I think that's not I wouldn't say that's not a good look at all, to be real. If you're spending that much, should come with everything else.
Yeah.
Covert Mecha mention here, man, that looks good. That's the Rush he's referring to. See, there were a couple of comments here that were coming up.
Yeah, for sure. Let me check my time real quick. Hold on. Oh yeah, I got 10 strong minutes. Sorry to do that, but
no, it's all good, guys. By the way, guys, the stream started half an hour early because I could not pass up on a chance to sit down with Jose and really talk about MV Agusta, because I'm totally passionate about the brand and I love their designs, and I'm like, we're gonna skew the time back just to have you on. So you know what? We should probably take your last 10 minutes. I'm probably going to hang around a little bit longer and kind of read through the comments with people.
Yeah.
But
also, I don't totally hold me to it, but totally willing to come back in the future, especially maybe after the adventure bikes come out and all that stuff.
The door is open.
Right after EICMA, when all this exciting stuff you guys are going to see comes out.
The door is open. I would love to have you back and just really kind of go over more and more, man. I think it's exciting. A lot of people are going to enjoy this. Also, it's a great way to kind of spread the good word about MV and show the bikes. And more importantly, it shows that they're connected to other people. I think what you do is kind of dope. The fact that we're talking about referencing to Pagani, which is a very high-end vehicle, and the pricing of the bike. But, guys, Jose's just like you and I, man. You know what I mean? He grinds, he works. You see his nice bikes. Pretty much we all could do it if you focus on it. You know what I mean? If that's what you really want. And, you know, the brand is worth it, in my opinion. So I'll let you take your last 10 minutes, man, before you go, just to kind of talk about the brand and why people should go and check it out and and tell them why it's worth it.
I recently got put on the spot at a dealership, at a grand opening of a dealership, and they're like, oh. And the guy goes, "Hey, like, are these faster than Ducatis?" And I'm like, dude, I was like, hey, there's places where we win, there's places where they win on the spec sheet. But when it comes to feeling it and being a human being, right? I'm not a data reader, neither are you. We are human beings. And when it comes to just feeling, not only the feeling when you see it, right? Like there's just like, I'm looking over to the left because I said, here's my F4RR. I'm looking at a red trellis frame, and you know what I mean? And I'm looking at these angles and curves that were, penned by the Michelangelo of motorcycling. And it's just like, it's just a feeling that's the first feeling, right? And as some of these other bikes, and I'm not going to talk too much down, but some of these other bikes kind of, got, like I said earlier, they lost the trellis frame probably to be easier and cheaper to manufacture. Yeah, they say it's lighter, but the truth is it's probably to make it easier and cheaper to manufacture, right? And you lose these details and stuff that really make you feel like you're on something special, like truly special, truly like handwork, truly put together one by one. You really do start to lose that feeling with the other brands. When you have the MV, they just have not lost that feeling one bit. If anything, they've continued to accentuate that feeling. And even though we do have to, deal with all the Euro 5 stuff like everybody else, there's just music that this inline 4 makes, and the triple as well. But the inline 4 just makes this sound that it's just unrivaled. It really is. It's unrivaled, and it's not just the sound coming out the exhaust, but it's the sound that you hear from the airbox too, just like right below your head. It's just all like it's a feeling. And Kay actually talks about it in his video if you watch the whole thing. As well, it's just a sound, dude. It's a whole thing. And so going back to the original question that I asked you, whether it's technically faster or not, like I said, some things it wins, some things it doesn't. But as far as being something that gives you an experience and makes you feel some other kind of way that's unique to this brand and this motorcycle, there's nothing else like it. It just is. It's a feeling. It's a whole thing. It's love, it's passion, and it's Italian motorcycling, and it's still here, and it's very much still very raw and very authentic. And it's just the way MV still is rolling and will continue to roll.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see MV back and really making a big push. And being a strong presence in the industry. And also, more importantly, it's great to have competition amongst all of the manufacturers. I always tell people this, competition like this between, your Yamahas, your BMWs, your MV Agusta, Ducati, pretty much. All that means is that we win as the consumer, guys. All right? As long as nobody's going out of business and they're disappearing from the face of the earth, we win, technologies are advancing, or one person is not doing certain things, they start seeing others are doing it better than them. In order to stay competitive, we all win. So they have to do it. They have to compromise in terms of pricing and offering. So that's always a great thing to see.
Yeah. And performance is great, and trust me, we are at the forefront of it. You can go watch reviews and stuff, but feeling matters, man. I'm like, we're all humans, and it's just I still own a 2001 Harley Davidson Dyna, right? And it's a twin cam, and I ride these newer ones, and the motor got this crazy counterbalancer and all this stuff. The motor doesn't move, right? And I still just rather would ride my twin cam 2001 Dyna. I'm like, why? Because it still feels like a Harley, and when I give it gas, and it's got no traction control, and it's still kind of floppy, especially compared to these newer ones. It's just, dude, I'd say there's still not that many funner feelings than just dropping the hammer and just burning my tire through a whole intersection, kind of on accident half the time, you know what I mean? And feeling that Harley just pump up and down. And it's kind of, and I mean this in the least offensive way, but it's kind of just, it's gone on the newer ones, dude. It's not there anymore. And that it matters, dude. It matters. That feels cool, and that's why I still love riding that twin cam Harley Davidson, and that's why I still like riding my 1966 Harley Davidson as well. Right? It just feels like it's the way it feels. Right? That bike, that especially the 66, does not win any reliability contest, does not win any speed contest or nothing. Trust me.
But it has character.
It feels rad. You're like, wow, I'm riding this like thing like Americans made, and like this is how they got around, and we got around, and this is crazy. It's just crazy. It's awesome, and that matters. I truly. What's the point of us if we all ride these things? We can't feel it. We're like, oh yeah, I did the fastest lap, but like you didn't feel anything. It was all kind of automatic. You didn't really feel like you did anything. You know, what's the point?
I think what's happening is the compromise between the level of power that they're putting to the rear wheel. They're changing up, making it something that's rideable. Because if you're getting 200 horsepower to the wheel without any kind of nannies, is going to make things a little bit interesting.
Oh, for sure.
People getting hurt and stuff like that. And I think instead of risking, because let's be real here, even somebody like myself, just a regular rider, 200 braking horsepower on a bike, you know, can really go south really quickly without, you know, proper aids on there. You know, not everyone's a pro that's hitting the track all the time or getting a custom and stuff like that. So I think these things that are making motorcycling a lot better, they also take away some characters off of things to kind of make it easier kind of thing. So it's a compromise.
Yeah, it's a compromise for sure. But hopefully, like, enough of them stay, like, raw enough, you know. I just hope, yeah,
man, we'll always have that. By the way, Jose, I'm gonna definitely let you go because I know you have time. You're pressed for time. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm gonna hang out with everyone, go through the chat and stuff.
Of course.
The door is open, sir. Anytime you want to come back, you want to talk about some of the new stuff coming out or helping with marketing, I'm more than happy to do it on my end. I want to see MV do well. I want to see you do well as well, man. And again, congratulations on you moving back in with MV and all of the great things that you've done. Actually, I wanted to actually pull up your photography as well. I'll probably do that after. But definitely very talented, man. I could see why you fit in that position very well. Yeah.
And again, thank you for making the time and moving it a half an hour early. And like I said, I'm willing to come back for sure. But thank you all. Thanks everybody for tuned in. I am going to try either from my personal account or maybe from the MV USA account, probably from my personal one, to answer questions in the comments if there are any. Or I'll just DM Mike about it and he can relay it on. But I'll try to do that later on today, even later tonight. I'll hop on and check out whatever comments or whatever this gets uploaded.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate, man.
Thanks, everybody.
Let you head out and stuff. Thank you again. I really, really appreciate you coming through and doing this, even though you had things on
no worries.
For work, man. All right. You have a good one, sir.
Real quick before I go, here's the F4.
Oh, hold on. Let me show. Oh man, it's in the living room. Oh my God, he's a savage.
All right, guys.
Wait, I gotta see it one more time. Oh my God. Oh, that looks clean, man. That's so good. That was totally worth it.
Too many in the garage. All right.
All right, man. You have a good night.
See ya. Bye.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, man. Really appreciate it. So, as you guys know, it was really awesome having Jose, man. I'm going to pull up some comments here, just go through some of the chat and stuff. I was not reading everything during the time we were talking. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying this, guys. By the way, thank you to everyone that always come through and tune in, hitting the thumbs up. And I wanted to say a special thank you to Solo Rider 82, man. Really, it was really nice chatting up with him last week. And also, he actually inspired me, man, when he mentioned to me that the stream's really documenting the community and stuff like that, and really understanding what everyone is doing. So, you know, doing these streams can definitely time consuming, and sometimes they don't always pay off like every time I expect it, or, you know, maybe guests might drop out and stuff like that. But you guys seem to really enjoy them. I'm going to keep on doing them. And you guys know I'm not completely fully driven by the numbers, even though you have to watch them no matter what. I come through and I do it for you guys and sit down for an hour where I could be spending time with my family, or at least go out riding, which I will be doing. I already have all my gear here. I'm actually rocking my riding shoes already, and I said to myself tonight, I'm like, dude, I'm definitely gonna go out and ride. Oh, let me show you guys. Last night I actually rode too, which was pretty wild. I witnessed a crazy accident, man. One of the worst accidents I've seen in a very long time. I'm gonna roll this so you guys can see it. I don't usually show that stuff on my channel, but I might. Let me pull this up real quick here. So I was just coming off the highway, and I'm like, damn, the state trooper's definitely gonna get at me. I was going a little hard. I like riding at nights because there's usually no traffic, but as soon as I got on the on-ramp, I'm like, damn, why is so much traffic? That's kind of rare. And then of course there's so many state troopers. I'm like, yeah, I gotta cut through this. And as you can see, this is me here. I'm like, oh, you know, I'm just gonna lane split it, because if they are going after someone else, they're not gonna bother me. It is not legal to lane split in New York, but in some cases, if you're going slow enough, you can. But just gonna kind of push this here so you can see. But this was one of the worst accidents I've ever seen in my entire life, really. Let's see here. Yep, I get to it here. Everyone goes and help, and I should be getting there. Let's see. There you go. I jumped a little bit here. Oh, Jose just texted me, man. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you coming through, man. It was awesome. I really hope to see you back on the channel when MV release some new items and stuff like that, new bikes and stuff we could talk about. I'm just taking off the Hyper off the road, just so there's no accident here. And of course, got to take my keys. And I don't know if you guys could see this on the left side. That car is totaled on the far left, right? And then you could see that little blotch right there. As I get closer, you see right here? That's a car that's flipped on the side, and then the other car is flipped. I have never seen anything like this before. It is so wild. There was a baby in one of the cars. Everyone was trying to help get people out the cars and stuff like that. See, that car's flipped over. And then this gentleman here ran to kind of help people get out the cars, because you could smell the gas and everything else. That must have ruined the night for so many people. But I have the entire thing on video, and maybe I'll probably put it up or something like that. But I try not to kind of have stuff like that on the channel. Just it's not my thing, not my vibe. So, yeah. That was last night's adventure, man. That was pretty crazy. Let's see here. I'm just going to pull up the chat. Guys, if you have any question, this would be the time. Anything you want to chime in. People you want to see on the stream, let me know. Potentially, we have some a lot more cooler guests. I wouldn't say cooler guests. A lot more guests that are cool, that are part of the industry, that will be on the stream. Again, as long as you guys are watching, hitting the thumbs up, you're sharing this content with other people, because the more we spread things out, the more people that we can get. We're talking about execs, we're talking about marketing people, we're talking about people that's worked on big projects. So, and of course, it's still open to you as well. So don't think that it's a means of just networking with like really big people. This is the bridging the gap for people like Jose that's in the industry, that's working with big companies, and for someone like yourself to really interact with, ask questions, or figure out how to get into the game, or at least, or if you just want to be into the conversation, that's cool too. You don't have to be a content creator or anything weird like that. So, and that's what we try to do here, man. Really document things and really talk to people and get to know everyone that's here, man. And if you're returning on the channel, make sure you subscribe. Always help as well. We're quickly making our way towards 25,000. This is the most growth I think I've seen on the channel in a while. That's happening fairly quickly. So I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing, uploading the shorts, uploading the videos as much as I can, and keeping with the streams. I think the stream is going to be extremely valuable when we're talking over the winter in New York, because this is going to be a hub where we all could hang out and talk during the winter, because, you know, I don't know how much riding that I'm going to be I also wanted to say I'm going to be at an event on the 17th. Mr. Black Moses is going to be there. Jason, the professional Cowie stunt rider, is going to be performing there as well. Hopefully I can capture some great footage. Hopefully I can open up the door to get Jason to be on the stream as well, because I know a lot of you guys would love to see that. That's kind of cool. And also I'm going to go out there to support Mr. Black Moses. You got to show love and support, and to other people that is very encouraging to myself, at least inspire me as well. So I'm definitely going to be out there in Jersey on the 17th. The event's going to be pretty much all day, so pretty cool. If you guys are here in New York, you want to come through and show love, that's going to be kind of dope. Not just to me, but to Jason, which is dope, and Mr. Black Moses. And both of them are black, and of course I love to see my people doing well, so I'm going to go out there and show love anyway. Have to. I'm a little biased, but it's all good. It's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's see here what I got. And if you guys have any question regarding MV, you could always drop it in the comment section. Both Jose and I will be keeping an eye out if anything comes up, or if anybody have any question. Hopefully you guys got a few gems regarding. I always try to conduct an interview of just really getting to know how things are going, the temperature of the industry. Also try to have gems regarding some of the people that are influencer or potential future influencers that's looking to either get into the motorcycle game, or at least figure out how to get like loaner bikes or getting paid. I always try to squeeze these questions as part of the conversation. Really, it's really done for you guys, so you could watch this back and say, oh, okay, this is potentially what I need to do to kind of get that to happen to me. You could see Kay was, he got himself an MV also to ride. Of course, I mentioned a couple of names here that I thought would be great potential to see them on the bikes myself. So stuff like this tends to happen. I think this is the place for it, man. And also, I wanted to say thank you to everybody too that tunes in, man. You guys really motivate me to keep this going. There's a lot of times that I work on a stream, and some of the results are not as great, but I always have a good time no matter what. But everybody that tunes in always makes it worth it, man. Just reading some of the comments and stuff. So let's see what I have here. Let's see, Powermoto here mentioned he just hit 3,000 subscribers on YouTube in 1 year. Yeah, man, very cool guy, man. You do some crazy edits and stuff, so hopefully things kind of takes off, man. Solo Rider 82 mentioned that's the only thing that 650 is missing in his garage. Any plans for an MV? He's asking 650. I would definitely like to see him on a. I know there's a Super Volice. I love saying that. It's very cool. It's a super bike. He's very in tune in like super bikes. So hopefully we can definitely get him on one of those, man. But I would love to see the Killer Cam on an MV, because his riding style, a lot of burst of energy, wheelies and stuff like that, and very energetic. I think he fits that very, very well. And of course, I'd get on one for sure, 100%. So, but really, really cool, man. Let's see here. Banana Boat mentioned here, that's my wife, of course. The MV Agustas always look so buff to me. Yeah, man, really, really cool. So, here's a good little backstory, guys. So I know you guys watched my channel for a very long time. One of my first bikes, my wife bought me an MV. So hence why she's still around, man. She's a good lady, man. She treats me well. She actually got me a red MV Agusta Brutale 800 back in the days, which I got rid of because things weren't going well in that time frame for MV, so I couldn't keep the bike, and I couldn't justify keeping it and not risking if things got bad. I'd be stuck with a bike that I can't really handle, or that'd be extremely expensive to kind of take care of. Five Up a little bit earlier mentioned, my dragster was my least favorite bike I've ever rode, but the best looking. So that's kind of an interesting comment. I think Ducati had that early on too. You've seen where a lot of people say, oh, I love the way my Ducati looks. I keep it in the garage, and people love how it looks. And there's certain things I didn't like. I think during the time when we're talking about 1098, 1198 or something like that, their super bikes are super hot, and if you're not tracking it, and people encounter that. But it's different to see everyone's take on things. Hopefully, 5UP will have a better experience on a different model, maybe down the line. Again, he has a huge collection of motorcycles, so that's remaining to be seen. But also, we have Jock in the Box that was tuned in a little bit earlier as well. Let's see here. Anything else, guys? Anything we want to throw up before I call it a night? I'm not going to keep everybody here all night. I think we're running up to a good 2-hour mark. Yeah, 2-hour mark. 5 minutes in, we'll be at 2 hours. Let's see. Okay, I guess there's some comments here regarding that crash from earlier. Sassong mentioned here, it becomes pretty normal. That's how often these accidents happen here in Florida. Yeah, that was pretty wild. Last night, man, I was having an amazing time, just really ripping it up. I went by the beach near my home, and then from there hit the highway, you know, probably ride a good 10, 20, 30 miles, because at night it's super low-key, very little state troopers, and you really can open up the bikes and stuff. And I'm finding that most of my Ducatis run really well towards nighttime, because the temperature drops really low, and the freaking hyper sounds immaculate. And I'm like, you know what, tonight I'm gonna go out. I'm all dressed up already. I'm all geared up, and I have my jacket. I'm like, I'm gonna do the stream, hang out with everyone, and hopefully make it a little bit of a compromise. After the streams, I'll go out and ride and just chill and stuff. Mr. Black Moses mentioned here, whatever I can do to help, brother, good brother. Yeah, man. Dude, as long as you come in, you tune in, I more than appreciate it. I appreciate what you do, and you're very inspiring to me. And, you know, whatever you've told me when you were on the stream, I take that to the heart, and it keeps me grinding and working really hard on what I really want to do. So thank you. Let's see here. Big success of the Clutch First New York channel, I guess it's me, of course. Love your short vids, man. I do a lot of shorts now. They working very well for the channel, and of course my doggy is just like getting really hype. Clutch Control event. My wife, of course, the manager. Clutch Control event, New Jersey Motor Park Saturday. I need to stop doing that. I'm like going so fast. Clutch Control event, New Jersey Motor Park Saturday, 9/17, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. guys. That's the event with Black Moses and Jason Britton. Very excited, actually. This is gonna be my first time seeing Jason Britton, so I'm really excited to see him do what he does best, which is stunt. I love seeing some of the work that he's done with Icon, and he's pretty big with Cowie. All that stuff really, really dope. And I did Teach McNeil stunt show. I recorded that. I'm looking to do something very similar with him. And I'm praying to God that we'll have him here on the stream at some point. I've touched base with him. He says yes, but he's a very busy individual, traveling a lot. So hopefully we can try to work that in at some point, man. Really, really cool. Soul Rider 82 mentioned here, thank you to both of you for all the work. Looking forward to many more. Yeah, man, really, really cool. I have a lot of really cool people in the pipeline to come on. We're talking about people that does press events. We're talking about journalists. We're talking about other industry officials and stuff like that, and pro riders. So a lot of stuff is in the pipeline. The only way of us continuously doing this is really spreading the good word, sharing the content, hitting the thumbs up, commenting, and really keeping that flow coming. And that means more people. And at some point we're going to reach where we're going to have to start doing giveaways and stuff like that. I actually sent out my first care package to Solo Rider 82. I'm very excited for him to receive that. There's a couple of really cool things in there, and then something special for one of his motorcycles. So big shout out to Motivation. They actually provided stuff for me to get out to him, so that's kind of cool. It's supposed to be a surprise, but might as well just say it here on the stream. So very excited for that, and I'm going to try to continuously do things like this for people that tunes into the stream and at least support. And I love giving back to people, and I figured out it's a great way to do this. But we're not going to keep you guys for all of the night. Just wanted to say thank you to everybody that tuned in. Really appreciate everyone at all times coming through. Always hit the thumbs up. Always appreciate it. I will catch you guys next Sunday, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Always appreciate everyone, man. Catch you guys later. Peace. Oh, man. That was a good one, man. I really enjoyed this one.